Well, hello, and welcome again to the 2012fad.com. I will be your host for this evening, and my name is Charlie Bluehall. Last night, we were talking about dissecting, decompiling the Declaration of Independence, Part 2. And we're going to do this very slowly because it's a very simple document in what it's trying to say, but the complexity of it is such that you and I, not speaking proper English, since 100 years ago it was decided by our masters that we didn't need to actually know how to read or write, since we were simply assets, resources, human resources, for the corporation that eventually became the United States of America, Inc., a privately owned offshore corporation today, to which I was going to say you and I, but actually it's you, because I've declared my own sovereignty under black magic ritual satanic law, under British Admiralty law, which is what American commercial law is today. See, the United States of America, Inc. does not operate under constitutional republic law since the 1920s, when our country declared bankruptcy, and our country was signed over to British bankers. And since then, our courts have not been constitutional courts. They have been commercial courts. That's why you see in any American, actually every American courtroom in the United States, you do not see a constitutional flag. You see a military flag. And it's real easy to tell. A military flag has a gold braid around the edges. So if you dare, which I recommend you don't actually, you might next time you're in a courtroom and might ask the judge if he could or she could explain the symbolism of the flag standing in the corner and why it's a military flag and not a constitutional flag. Anyway, it's going to take us some time to deconstruct the Declaration of Independence so that you and I understand it. But as a side note, I went into, as you know, I'm in Europe right now, and I had a business meeting yesterday, so I took the train in, and about an hour later I'm in town. Had a meeting, got a cup of coffee out of it, that was nice. And I took a leisurely stroll back towards the train station. And I know the city, parts of the city really, really well. And so I'm walking down the street of a major tourist attraction, tourist area, I guess. And as usual, the shops have changed position, or they're gone, or they're different. And, you know, we can chalk that up to stores fail all the time, businesses fail all the time, they're replaced, and you can't really, in a touristy section of town, you really can't afford to have, to be paying rent on a shop unless you're actually making money. So I've seen shops, come and go overnight. This was, as usual, very different, and I have to admit I was very, very tired, so I wasn't particularly astonished or anything to see that 3 or 4 little shops in this main thoroughfare of the tourist section were gone. And in their place, in less than a week or two, there's now a very, very, very large wax museum. And of course, I mention this as I often do when wondering, well, it's the tourist section, so tourists come and go, so they wouldn't notice the change. And the local store owners, you'd think they would notice that a building that I would have bet money was structurally unsound to actually build something, a venue that big in it without spending a lot of money and a lot of time and a lot of massive structural engineering to make it suitable. But there it was. And I honestly didn't know what to say, so I just got back on the train and went out to the little village where I'm staying because it's inexpensive. And I went to my local store. I had made a few dollars. That was nice. And I walked into the store, and not a tremendous exciting thing. I bought a little extra food. It's sort of nice to have food in the fridge. And I thought, what the heck? I have a few extra coins on me. I'll pick up a bottle of tonic water. I like tonic water. And there's 2 choices. There's the original river tonic water, and there's the traditional Schweppes tonic water. Now, Schweppes, of course, big brand name, known worldwide, been around for at least 100 years. And it's very Good quality stuff, very strong stuff. And then there's original river tonic water, whatever that is. And it's not as expensive, and it's a little less strong. And so, being that I don't really have any money, I picked up the original river tonic water and went and checked out and went back to my little place, my little room, and put food away in the fridge, as we all do. Had a little dinner, decided, I'm going to have a little swig of tonic water. So I opened the refrigerator door. There's my bottle of original river tonic water. Very unique bottle design, yellow label, similar to the Schweppes tonic water. Had a little sip. That's good. Great. Went and did some work. A couple hours later, went back, decided to have a little more tonic water, opened the refrigerator door, put my hand in, picked up the bottle, and was pouring it, and realized that it was no longer an original river tonic water bottle. It was a Schweppes tonic water bottle. Now, yeah, I was kind of tired yesterday, and yes, I would have noticed the difference in price. But I had taken home and had drank a glass of original river tonic water. 2 hours later, the bottle was now a Schweppes tonic water bottle and had what I would have guessed is the amount of 1 cup, short inside of it. That's different. That's new. I've never actually had a product change on me in the refrigerator before. Now, yes, granted, I was really, really, really tired yesterday, but I'm pretty much certain I know the difference, if not in the color of the label, but in the design of the bottle. Let's just hope, for the sake of argument, I was just really, really, really tired, because that would be yet another first, and frankly, I'm really tired of firsts. So tonight, I think we should continue our chat, our review, our deconstruction of the Declaration of Independence, and this will be part 3. The unanimous declaration of the 13 United States of America. He has called together legislative bodies at places unusual, uncomfortable, and distant from the depository of their public records, for the sole purpose of fatiguing them into compliance with his measures. Now, this is where our founding fathers are talking about the fact that King George III, as king, as ruler, as monarch of the original 13 nations of the United States of America, the 13 original colonies, in order to get his own way, King George III at the time would actually force the elected officials in the United States, the 13 colonies, to go to really bizarre places way out in the middle of nowhere to hold their meetings and discussions, simply to tire them out. In order for them simply, rather than make the long, tiring, expensive journey, their choices were either go and debate someplace way out in the middle of nowhere, or simply sign the document and return it to him. That's what we call today extortion, blackmail. It's what our masters do to us. It's amazing how more than 200 years ago, our masters are still using the same methodology. The thing about our masters is they're not very creative. They just keep doing the same things over and over again. In order to get their man Hitler into power, excuse me, the masters at the time actually blew up the Reichstag, the German Congress building. And that's how Hitler was swept into power. Hitler, the difference between Hitler and anyone here today, Hitler was actually voted into office. And he was voted into office because he was able to say, look, the communists are going to invade Germany. Look, they've just burned down the German Congress building. We need to get them in. And since they've done this horrible thing and you've now made Hitler the chancellor, the first thing that Hitler did was he outlawed gun ownership in Germany. And he created something called Homeland Security. You don't need me for this. Look it up on the internet. It's really simple. Hitler, Homeland Security, Germany, I believe 1938. So our masters are not creative souls. There were a few geniuses in the bunch. Again, Albert Pike is a fun guy to look up. But overall, our masters are very, very dim-witted. They just have tremendous power and the ability to frighten us into obeying them. But look it up. They're not creative folk. The Declaration of Independence goes on. He has dissolved representative houses repeatedly for opposing with manly firmness his invasions on the rights of the people. Well, he, being King George III, has dissolved ruling bodies lawfully elected by the people, you and me, because we objected to his abuse of us. Today we have black suited private armies owned by the major corporations who go in and, well, do what black booted Nazi thugs do. They hurt people. They take away your rights, and then there's no reports of these because, of course, 90% of the media in the United States is owned by the corporations, which, of course, are owned by our masters. So you have jackbooted Nazi thugs in black going into protests and carting people away. You have no rights because you are an asset of a corporation. You're not a human being. So 200 years ago, King George III was doing this with his private armies. Today, private armies are doing it to us again. The Declaration of Independence continues. He has refused for a long time, after such dissolutions, to cause others to be elected, whereby the legislative powers, incapable of annihilation, have returned to the people at large for their exercise, the state remaining in the meantime exposed to all the dangers of invasion from without and convulsions within. This is where I keep repeating the phrase, we have the right to defend ourselves as American citizens under a constitutional republic from all enemies, foreign and domestic. Right now, we are, as a people, fighting wars in countries that have nothing to do with us. We literally don't have enough troops to die. The last time I checked, the German military was actually flying defense of the United States borders. We've run out of people to kill. And I'm talking about Americans. So now, since we've run out of enough American soldiers to kill, we're bringing foreigners in and giving them American uniforms and American weapons in an American military. And since those foreigners are not Americans, they have no problem shooting Americans in their own homes, in their own streets, in their own cities. Because it's a pretty good bet that not that long ago American troops were in their countries and murdering and raping their parents and their grandparents, and they want to get even. And I don't blame them. So, 200 years ago, George III was causing properly elected officials to leave their office or driven out of office, then staging phony events to get his own politicians elected. Which means that the people of the time had no one to represent their rights, to defend their rights, to represent them. Just like today, in the Senate, in the Congress, the House of Representatives, the people who sit in those chairs don't represent you and me. They represent the corporations that paid for them to be there. Just like Barack Obama does not represent you and I. He's not American. He was born in Kenya. He was raised in Indonesia. He's not a Christian. He's a Muslim. That's neither here nor there. But it would be nice if he'd stop lying about it. Barack Obama is a finger puppet, as they all are. And we're not the ones behind the stage. No one represents the American people in the Senate or in the House of Congress or in the White House or in the judiciary, the courts. No one represents the American people because, just like 200 years ago when George III was doing it, the people in power have removed anyone who might actually speak for us. And under the original Constitution of the United States of America, as U.S. citizens, it is our right, it is our obligation to bear arms and to protect ourselves, our country, our families, our neighbors from all enemies, foreign and domestic. We just sort of kind of have to remember to do that. It would be helpful if we first remembered that we were human beings, that we were men and that we were women, and that we have certain rights: life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. I think that's as far as we're going to get today. I don't think I have it in me to read any more today because, frankly, this is very hard to do. When I did this on my last show, a TV show, it took me 2 weeks to practice reading the document, just reading it on camera without crying. And I sort of managed kind of after 2 weeks of practice to do this on camera, but I choked up quite a few times because it is heartbreaking. The country that our mothers and fathers left us 200 years ago, we've let them down. We've betrayed them. We betrayed ourselves. That's why I fled the United States, because I knew nobody would stand with me. I had positive proof, decades of proof, that we're too arrogant, we're too stupid, we're too frightened to do anything until it's too late. From my point of view, December 2000 was the last opportunity we had to take back the United States of America without bloodshed. But bloodshed is the one thing we cannot give our masters. We cannot give them reason to call in their real army, the United Nations. The United Nations is simply our masters' tool for what they want, their one world government. And you hear the phrase New World Order all the time. Forget about that. It's business. These are Satan worshipers. They worship Satan. Doesn't matter if you believe in Satan or not. Doesn't matter if you believe in God or not. Doesn't matter if you believe in magic or not. It doesn't matter, because our masters believe it. They're parasites. Without us, they don't exist. They can't exist. They can't even feed themselves, clothe themselves. They can't even make a pot of coffee themselves. So why do we allow literally a handful of people out of 7 billion to ruin us, to destroy us, to hate us, to cause us to hurt each other, to cause us to hate ourselves? Why? You don't even have to say no. Just make a conscious decision. Make a conscious decision as a man, as a woman, just to turn your back, walk away. It's something to think about. There was an ancient country in Ireland, well, an ancient civilization in Ireland, which is itself an ancient country. And most of our laws are real laws, which we have pretty much forgotten all about. They gave us our laws, a lot of them. The Brehon laws, they were called. I don't speak Celtic, so forgive my horrible pronunciation. B-R-E-H-O-N, the Brehon laws. And our masters have done a tremendous amount of effort to destroy any knowledge of these ancient people. Here and there, bits and pieces of knowledge exist. B-R-E-H-O-N, the Brehon laws. One of the blessings they had And these were people, what little I know of them, of tremendous intelligence and tremendous kindness and compassion. They had a prayer, a greeting, a wish, a dream for their friends or for a beloved stranger. And it went, "May you live as long as you wish. May you love as long as you live." For the 2012fad.com, this is Charlie Bluehawk. The 2012 Fad is brought to you by Coffee and Blood, Love Letters Between the Dead, a series of 5 erotica horror novels about a fallen angel fighting his way back to regain his own soul, and how the CIA war against the human race, their black magic, captures and traps him in the body of a mind-controlled slave designed to hunt down and to kill their god, their Satan.